Hi, Gemini. So you guys had a ton of views for the 1st of September reading, which tells me that there must be something significant going on in your life. So I wanted to do a mid-month energy reading and see if we could figure out what was going on, because it's got me curious now. So I'm going to do things a little differently than I normally do. I've got some new cards, a couple of new decks, a mixed emotions deck that's been interesting, and the John Holland Psychic Tarot Heart ones. And so I'm just going to kind of play it up here and see what we've got going on. And see if we can figure out why Gemini is looking online to figure out what's going on in their world. And I don't know if I have any Gemini friends. If I do, I don't know who they are. So I can't even ask them what's going on. So we'll find out together, I guess. I am going to do 4 or 5 regular tarot cards just to kind of see what the energy for the month is, or the second half of the month. So this is again for Gemini, the 15th through the 30th, and energies are moving really fast these days. So, maybe if things were bad at the beginning, they've leveled out for the second half of the month. So let's just see what we got going on here. Gemini, September, mid-September. I need some cards, please. Find out what the energy for the second half of September is. Stubborn, because I can't get any cards to pop out. Stagnant. There's one. 7 of Swords. You're climbing out of something. There's another Ace of Pentacles. Ah, right. That's good. Okay, there's 3 that popped out. We'll take them all. So things are looking up. Okay. So the first one that came out was the 7 of Swords. So as you can see, he's climbing up the mountain or the cliff or whatever to get up to where the party is at. He's still carrying some of his swords, or some of his negative thoughts are coming with him, so he's not completely out of the woods just yet. But his money is getting better all the time, because this is new beginnings for Pentacles. Maybe some of you have gotten a new job. Maybe that's one of the reasons you guys were looking at the beginning of the month, was a new job opportunity was cropping up and you wanted to know whether to take it or not. I say yes. If it's coming to you, there's a reason that it's coming to you. And especially if it has anything to do with your passion, soul purpose, life purpose, passion in life, even if it's a little part-time job, take it, because you never know where it's going to lead to. 6 of Pentacles. This one is just showing that you're giving out some stuff. You're trying to get balanced. So maybe you guys were unemployed there for a little while, and maybe that's what had you stressed out and why you were trying to figure out what was going on. But I feel like that's going to be over very, very soon. If that has to, so the first 3 I feel like has to do with career opportunities. This one is the Lovers card. So some of you have new love on the way. Maybe a first date with somebody. Maybe you have come to a new beginning in your relationship, or it's come to the next level. You know what I mean? Maybe you guys were just dating and your significant other told you that they wanted to be in an exclusive relationship with you. Perhaps you got engaged. Something got stepped up to the next level. And then the Hierophant generally means like higher education, government stuff. So in this one, I'm thinking some of you have an opportunity to go back to school or to learn something new. Maybe that goes back to your job, to educate yourself more or to advance your degree or whatever that could be. That's what that feels like that's all about. So let's see. I'm going to do mixed emotions right now. This is a new deck that I got, I don't know, a few days ago. It is also, with the directions that it came along with, it also had kind of a game that you could play. Like if you were just, maybe you were dating somebody and you wanted to get to know them, you could start pulling cards and say, the last time I felt this way was blah, 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 blah. And it's a good way to deepen intimacy with a partner. I didn't know that when I bought them, but I look forward to using those with my partner. If he would be into that, we'll see. I think I'm going to see him on Sunday, so who knows. Anyway, let's see what kind of emotions are going on with Gemini this second half of the month. Hopefully it's good, or we can figure out, you know, some advice on how to get out of it if it's not. Okay, that's interesting. Somebody's embarrassed about something. And there's two more. All right, that'll work. Okay, so, okay. Gosh, these are all over the place. No wonder you guys are trying to figure out what's going on. The first card that came up said exhausted, weary, fatigued, and drained. Disappointed was the next one. Disillusioned, defeated, and let down. So, if that came up, let me think. So that goes along with the Seven of Swords and still having some negative thoughts. So you're exhausted. Maybe, I feel like this has to do with some of you guys that were looking for new jobs, and you are exhausted and disappointed. It even had embarrassed, self-conscious, awkward, and exposed. Maybe you went on an interview or something and it didn't go as well as you had wanted to, and maybe they asked you some questions that you didn't have the right answers to. You're disappointed that it didn't go better and that you're not more well equipped. And again, the Hierophant came in, which is kind of higher education. So it feels like you guys have made a decision that you keep kind of hitting the dead end, or the road is not letting you move forward, and you're starting to think that maybe you need to get better educated. So the next time you go in for an interview, it's gonna be, you will be more accepted, or you will at least feel like you have a better grip on it. And it's going to do some good things for your confidence, which is actually the next one, which is confident, self-assured, courageous, and bold. So I feel like if you guys were out interviewing and you keep getting disappointed because they keep calling you saying, I'm sorry, you know, you're not a good fit for this position, it's embarrassing, it's disappointing, you're exhausted because you keep going and trying and nothing keeps working out, and maybe taking some online classes or something in your field will help you get more confident and be respected in your career choice. It says respectful is the next one, differential, courteous, and admiring. So everything about this whole reading, other than the Lover's card, feels like it has to do with career and just feeling like it's not moving forward like you would want it to. I'm going to do these John Holland Hart Tarot cards and see where that brings us. If that can give us any sight on something that you could do to get out of that. I wish I knew what kind of career you guys were in, so that I feel like if I knew what kind of career you guys were in, it would give me a little bit more insight on what kind of advice. Maybe the cards will give me some insight into that. You know, like I sold real estate for a long time, so some things you just, you know, it's timing and practice and experience that, you know, if you go in for a listing appointment, sometimes when you're brand new, you don't get what you want because people want someone that's been around the block a time or two, and that could be frustrating for some of you, especially if you're younger and maybe you just got out of college and you're trying to find a job, and the people that have been doing what you are doing for a long time, seem to be getting all the jobs. Or it could be that you're not getting anything because that's not what you're meant to be doing. That feels like that's also something. It's kind of like you went to school all this time to learn something, but it's not your passion. That could be part of the problem. If it's not your passion, that is coming off in the interviews. And that's where you need to rethink about, you know, maybe you went to school because you thought, gosh, they're flying out all over the place. All right, so that's enough. Well, that kind of goes along with what I was saying. Okay, so the first card that came up was moving on. Then the next one was detach, strengthening bonds, and teach. So I guess what I'm feeling that is coming from this is you keep going to these interviews, and maybe one of the reasons you're not getting anything is because it isn't your passion. You went into this career because you thought it was going to make you a bunch of money, and that comes over in the interviews. So people are not hiring you because they feel like you are just not that into it. And so you can't fake that. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, that definitely comes over in an interview. And so I think if you could detach yourself from what you thought was going to happen and start thinking about what you could do that lights your fire, your purpose in life, I feel like that would probably help in the long run. And I know what you guys are sitting here thinking, I have student loans to pay. I've got to get a job as soon as possible. Well, you know, I went to school for sales and marketing and ended up waiting tables for a while. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, and in the long run, you find out that there was a good reason why it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to, or the way you wanted to. This one says strengthening bonds. What do I get out of that one? I don't know, but it does say teach. So I'm feeling like some of you should be teaching something instead of being the doer. Like you think you should be teaching something. So think about what you are really, really good at. And maybe your thing is getting on YouTube and teaching something specific to people that you are more interested in. In the meantime, you know, while you're looking for the job, that might be something that at least fills the time and gives you a little bit of hope. You know, I guess that's kind of where I feel like that's going. Let's see. I'm going to do some Work Your Light Oracle cards. I like these. And these kind of are messages from your guides, your higher self, your family members, any kind of specific messages for your situation that might come in of use. These came in really helpful for me back at the beginning of August when I pulled some cards. My mom and dad both are passed away. My mom's birthday was August 1st. My dad passed away on August 6th a year ago. So that first week of August was kind of a rough one, and I decided that I was like, I'm going to pull cards and see what my parents would have told me had they been here. And the messages that I got from Mom were amazing, because they said that I was on the right path and that I should keep going the direction I was going. And so I started sticking my neck out and doing some extra things that I hadn't been doing, and she was right. I feel like I am on the right path. So let's see what your guides and anybody has to say. Come on, I need 3 cards for Gemini for the second half of September to give us an idea. All right, there's 2. And the funny thing is this crumbling card, 75% of the time when I do these Work Your Light oracles, the crumbling comes up. And it says, what are you clinging on to? That kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's like you're clinging on to the fact that maybe you have student loans and you've got to get those paid off. You went to 4 years or 6 years of college to learn X, Y, and Z. So you think that's what you have to be in. And I feel like the universe is telling you that that's not what you were meant to be in, and that you need to take a second look at your heart and figure out what your heart is telling you to do. The first one that came up was protection. Call back your power, cut the cords, and soul retrieval. And what time we got? 16 minutes. At 16 minutes. Let's do one more and see what this says. There, one more. This one says, share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, and expression. I feel like that goes along with the teaching card. Somebody or some of you are supposed to be teaching something. Something that has absolutely nothing to do with what you went to school for. Something that you are passionate about. Something that makes your heart sing, your soul sing. And you have it wrapped up in your head that that is not a possibility. And I am here to tell you that it is. And so are your guides here to tell you that that is. And one last thing before I close out is, because we had the Lovers card in there, I want to see what the Romance Angel cards have to say for those of you that are either just starting a new relationship or your relationship took the next step forward. Let's see what this says. What's going to happen for you lovers out there? They want to fly out when I don't want them to. All right. Let's see. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. I feel like that goes along with the Lovers. Remember when I said some of you are going to take your relationship to the next level? That only happens after you have heart-to-heart conversations with somebody. So that's coming for a handful of you. I also think along with that, the retreat card comes up along with that. You know, maybe you're going to go away for the weekend. That's where you're going to have the heart-to-heart conversation. That's where your relationship is going to step up to the next level. I think that sounds awesome. This is, this weekend would be great for it. It's raining. It's going to rain all weekend here in Indianapolis. And I sent my guy a message earlier and said, it's supposed to rain all weekend. Wouldn't it be nice if we could spend all weekend in bed together? And I don't mean sleeping. So hopefully some of you guys are doing that. Let go of control issues. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. So, yeah, just kind of chill out. Let it unfold the way it's supposed to. you can't speed things up, and usually if you try to speed things up, all you do is scaring the other party off. So just relax. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to, and I think that's about it. I think I've done everything I can think of to do for you Geminis to ease your mind on whatever was going on at the beginning of the month. I'd like to hear from you. I mean, tell me what's going on. What's going through your head right now? What's causing you all this grief? What were the cards that came up part of that? I mean, does it make sense to you? Anyway, I would love it if you would like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what's going on, say hello, anything, and I hope you all have a great last part of September. Thanks.